Okay. Good evening to all of you. Today we have speaker Dr. Komal Patel, ma'am. So I would like to introduce ma'am. Ma'am is professor in Department of Organon of Medicine at Ahmedabad Homeopathic Medical College, Parul University. She is a PG guide of Organon since the sixth year at AHMC, and she is the owner of Dvij Homeopathic Clinic and has been practicing since the 11th year. She has published the different articles and research work in national, international Scopus journal and seminars. I have seen ma'am at college and she is working so hard to promote the homeopathy and also guiding the student regarding the various topics of the homeopathy. And her method of teaching the homeopathy to the student is very practical. So she is a very motivating and enthusiastic. So we are going to learn today with our experienced speaker, and she will be discussed on the topic mind over matter. So I welcome you to ma'am. Please start your session.
Thank you. Now, Jill, my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
It is visible properly.
Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
So today's thank you, Jill, for giving introduction of me. You are my student, so I want to not telling anything to you, but that today I discuss the what is the importance of the our feeling of mind or our emotions in a development of the disease. So and how the mind and matter both are indirectly correlate each other and they make the person a man as a whole. So here that the first we discuss what you mean by mind. We understand about the mind. We are always thinking, or we are from first day of our life, we are using the mind. But how they work in our body? So mind is a substance. Dr. Candy says that it is one type of substance which are the having a thought. Because of it is like that they are the different matter we are saying. It is a one type of substance, but this type of the substance it is not visible, and it is visible in the form of thought. So mind is as an intelligence, and from that intelligence we make the thinking process, make the thought, and from that we do the certain action by the our body languages. So now what is the thought? It is the action of the mind. Mind give a action on the it give a react, for example, action on a reaction towards the certain stimuli. So the mode of motion of mind acting upon the molecule of the brain. So how brain are is a very debate. It's a very controversial topic. Some people are saying mind to body, body to mind. All the things say the brain is responsible for thought. So it's also true. A certain things which we are say in our structure of the brain that we so emerge from complex interaction with the nervous system, especially the cortex of the brain are responsible for that responsible for the action and reaction, and they are make the pattern it where electrical and chemical signal from internal pattern represent the memory, idea and thought. So it is a constantly receive the input from our senses, that is a sight, sound, taste, smell, touch. From the receive the all the stimulation, and mind is analyze this stimulation, and according to that we have to react. For example, a smell of our favorite food is coming from the outside the anywhere. Selection is start. So that indicate the something that is a immaterial, a connection between the between in the present in the universe. So when you see the acute puppy and hearing your favorite song, you feel good. You feel good. It is for you. Some people are having a aversion to puppy, or they are not able to see the dog, or they not want to see the dog because they're having afraid of that, so they become a fearful. So the reaction of individual to this stimuli, it is a different from one person to another person. So that's why we are say, if there is a thing of matter, no, it is a thing of brain. It is only a neuron or electron are responsible for this thing. So everyone having same reaction, but the reaction is different. So that's why we are the mind is over the matter. So then within our living creature, there is an existing vital force, a mental organism and counterpart to physical structure. It is the source of all vital and physiological phenomena originating contributed by the our will. 1 minute. So it is a creative will. So when we think about the mind, the first part or the first things which we know, that is a will and emotion. So this is the first part of the represent the individual. The memory, understanding, intellect, that we learn afterward. But the will and emotion we are having this from the first day of our life. So the mind and spirit are both give a life to us, not only physical body. The mind and spirit are combined together, they make the life, and the physical body is represent our mind and spirit. So the homeopathic point of view, we discuss the mind is a not a material substance, but is a dynamic non-material energy that governs the body. So we know that the homeopathy believe in a dynamic concept, and the dynamic concept it says that every time when we become old or when we go child, our mind is like all the way they are having energy, and this energy is transmitted to a material body, and so that's our material body is reacting. So there is a dynamic nature of the mind. Homeopathy show the mind is a dynamic, constantly changing and then influence the body. So mind is not a fixed thing; it is a dynamic. So the energy which is in action. So when we are in a conscious, or when we are in during the day, when we are alive, when we are not sleeping, at the time mind work very well. So we feel our five senses, and according to that we give a reaction. So homeopathy considers the mind is a non-material entity that cannot be reduced to a physical process. So when we utilize the mind, they are not reduced. When we utilize over mind, we are, for example, we having a more emotion or the will that not affect our physical, they not reduce our physical process. This is a remain eternal time all the way. They are working like that way. So now the think about the matter. What is the matter? So it is a corpus substance. The matter is a thing which we are able to see with our naked eyes or in the microscope, or we are able to we feel with our fingers. So it is a form of being a substance. So characterized by the extension, interior weight, etc. So in a general, by the property of cognized by the senses. So the corpus, the matter which we cognized by our senses, that means we able to see it. That is the matter. So physical science declare the matter is indestructible. They are say the matter is indestructible in the form of that is not breakable. Not breakable, that means they are atomable. So matter when they are breakable in the form of not physically breakable. When we break anything, they remain become a small and small particle. But it take a longer time to become a construct. So the constitution and mode of the matter are backward to mass through the molecular atom and electrons. So biological science trace matter backward from the organ to the cell and nuclei. They are believe the cell and nuclei make the tissue and make the organ. Now some people are believing the molecular and atomic electronics are responsible for the function of the cell or function of the tissue or the function of the organ. But we think of that these are how they come. They come from something immaterial thing. And in homeopathy, what we are saying, it is a force. It is a dynamic force. So the Honeyman view matter a dynamic and constantly changing rather than static and inert. His concept of matter differ from the materialistic view. So the materialistic concept or the materialistic people say that is a considered as a sole reality. They are not believing this thing. They are believing in electron, atom or atomic energy which are present in the cell. They are not give a connection with this thing. So now what the materialism possessed or how they represent. The matter is a fundamental substance of the universe, and they believe that everything including consciousness and mind can be reduced to a material process. Here he refused to admit the existence of anything but the proper existing of anything but only the property of a matter. So now this is a basic understanding about the mind and matter, how they differ. One is the immaterial, one the material. So how they, and for the function of the body, for the individual living organism, the both thing is required. If we having only immaterial things, our if there is no body, so it is not representation. Or if having only a body and there is no vital force or immaterial thing, so our body is not work. So now, according to homeopathy, what about the man and what is the human body? So Dr. Kent is explained very well in the first chapter of the Kent philosophy, that is the Sikh. A man is a villain understanding, and the body is the house when he lives in. So our body part, it is our house, and the person which live in that house, they make that. Like we are taking, we are purchasing every type of houses in a for example in a building, or we are by the flat. This is only a house, but when the person are living in that house, they become a home for that. You understand my point? So here that our physical organ, our system, our tissue, cell, bone, these are our house. That is, we are say our furniture of our house. What I say, a wall, a window. This is we compare with this our bone. Now the force or the power who animate this thing. For example, at the morning when I wake up, I having a desire to take a tea. This is not a desire of the body. Body is taking anything. If you want to give a, for example, milk to they able to take. But I want a tea. I want a this tasty food. I want a sweet food. I want a sour food. So these are the tell by our man. And this man is internal man, and this is a villain understanding. And the external man, this is our physical body. So from that we understand, if we think positive, our bodies react positive. If we think negative, we do the negativity. So now how this relation with the mind matter are help in a formation of the disease. So we discuss the incorporation living substance as a life, mind, and intelligence, primary source basis of all energy. All force is manifestation of the will, and every physical action is primarily a psychical action. So if I want to buy a car, and for that I am having a money and I am buying a car. So I'm buying the car. This is a process, and thinking process is developed in my mind, and so that's why I do the action. So physical thing is always come from the psychical action. So now there is a different philosophy regarding the understanding or the understanding of the mind and matter. So the one is type of the philosophy that is the idealism. This is come from the Greek word. So they are from the Greek to nowadays we are believing these things. Idealism. So the people they are believing idealism. They are the consider the or speed as a fundamental. They consider the energy is a fundamental, and it is only and only responsible for everything. So idealism arrays that the mind, spirit, or consciousness is a fundamental reality, and that the matter is a secondary and derivative. So always say the mind is first. Now the one another group of people or philosopher, that is a dualism. They are separate the realm of mind and matter. They consider the mind a different thing and matter is a different thing. So dualism poses the mind and matter are separate entities which distinct the property and mode of existence. So they are say this is both are different thing. Now the vitalism, that is this concept we are grasp or Dr. Honeyman grasp in homeopathy, that the vitalism possesses that the living organism possesses a non-physical vital principle which animate and govern the material body. So vital force is only and only responsible, or the soul or the invisible energy is only and only responsible for governor of the material body. This is the concept of homeopathy. Now the panpsychism. So this is also one the philosophical group. They are believing this. They are believe that it's a consciously inherent in a matter. So the matter is having a consciousness. So the energy not move the matter, but the matter itself having the energy, and so they are moving. So the is that the consciousness of mental property are inherent in the matter itself, and that even basic practicals, particles possess some form of consciousness. So the particle, for example, chemicals of a cell, or the atom of the cell, the DNA or DNA of that body, they are having inherent energy and they are animate the body. But we think about who give this thought. This is further we say there is a matter of vital force. So we think about the Hahnemannian concept or Dr. Hahnemannian perspective. So the dynamic interplay, the vital force, the psychic role. So in initial concept of the vital force as a dynamic non-material energy that convert the body's function and maintain the health. Now in the vital force, he emphasized the importance of psyche in shaping in physical health and well force. So he believed that the mind and body spirit are interacted with the influence of one another. So this is about the Hahnemannian perspective regarding the concept of the vital force, concept of the dynamism, and concept of the role in the development of the disease. So, how the disease is developed in the body, and that we are say the mind is responsible for the development of the disease that we are psychosomatic disease. So, how are occur in the body? What is the process to develop this thing? So everyone, the man is just living in the environment. Man is living in the environment. So he every time in every minute, every second, every fraction of the second, we are react with the environment. Yes or no? Yes, we are react with the environment. If that individual has a good adaptation, that means I am able to survive in this cold season. I am able to survive in the summer. That means my health is maintained, and that means harmony, equilibrium is there is a no this. But when the environment not adjust with that environment, failure of adaptation. Our adaptation is gone, and that leads to an abnormal function in the form of disease form, and they make the disharmony, disequilibrium, and disease. So this is totally a thinking. The interaction between a man and environment is the most important thing, and from that, wait for a minute. Hello. So failure of adaptation, a disease, that disharmony and disequilibrium, and this is a disease. Sorry for interruption. So now then we go to the further how this environment affect our body. So this is the one chart where I prepare. That is a reaction of the body towards the adverse condition. That means adaptation is already break. And what now the next thing is happen? There is a leads to a symptoms. When the adaptation is breaked, that is a disharmony, and the disharmony represent the symptoms. Simple. The disease represent the symptoms and signs. The symptoms. So now in which fragment we respond, or which type of the symptoms we seen in the patient. Basically, it is emotional symptoms, intellectual symptoms, and physical symptoms. This is we observe in each and every patient. In some patient, the emotion symptoms are more, some in intellectual symptoms are more, some in physical symptoms are more, but they are present in a disease condition. Now, every person are react with the environment, and when they are not cope up with a certain situation, the adaptation is break, they form a response. The first, there is a withdrawal response, second, the escape response, fighting response, and from that, what happened? The constant adaptation required to develop the emotionally and well integrated personality may fail at various stages. This breakdown will be indicated by appropriate symptomatology. If these warning signs are not, then the course of time, depending on the personality, different type of response may follow. That I already discussed. There is a withdrawal symptoms. Some may show a withdrawal from the world and create his own world. So these type of the patient are, we are say, severely, they are having a hallucination. They are not in a world. They are having a no matter with the surrounding. They make their own world, and they form the psychotic type of the response. So they are out of that mind. They are having like a patient with the schizophrenia. There is a hallucination, psychosis, so these type of the people are having that own world, and they're living in that world. So now escape response. That means they are want to escape from the situation. So produce psychoneurotic response. So in the psychoneurotic affection, what happened? There is a sadness, anxiety, vexation. So people are try to escape from that response. what they are doing, they are escape ourselves from their situation. So they having a brooding, they having a depression, they having a anxiety, because of they are not cope up with that adaptation, they are not coping with that situation. Now the other group of people, they are fighting with the response. There's a fighting response, so they are fighting with that situation. Like when they having a day-to-day life, they are always fight with the situation, and they may fight with the big challenge. When they are fighting with that situation, what happen? Our body is suffer. For example, I am doing over exertion to achieve a goal. Got it? So from this over exertion, my body is suffer. For example, I want to work. I have to do the work from 24 to 12 hour in a day. So now my body is suffer. It having a weakness. It having a disease like that is a myalgia. They're having a discomfort, or there is a deficiency because of we are focused only on that achievement. So these people are developed disease like a psychosomatic disease. That is the main thing which we are seeing in the world. There is a psychosomatic pattern, and this which and they affect more than psychosomatic disease may affect the autoimmune system, endocrine system, and they are playing a important role. Psychological cause, our body is suffer, and it is a fighting response we see how they are connected. So we take the certain examples. So we take the example of stress. Stress usually to describe the situation in the individual are forced with the demand with the a stressful situation give a rise to a adverse physiological changes, which is turn may result in a disease. A range of behavior, emotional response are shown by individual as them to cope with the stressful situation, and these are accompanied by automatic neuroendocrine and immunological changes. Now, this I'm saying the stress, how the stress is affect the body. So our psychological problem, they affect the physiological changes of the body, and now the physiology when affected, our tissue is affected. So as a Dr. Kent is all explained in the first chapter, the main is first one, the tissue change is always after. So first there is a derangement of the vital force start at the mental level and the end with the physical body. So a range of behavior and emotional response are shown by individual as an attempt to cope in stressful situation, and for that they develop the problem with the autonomic system, a problem with the neuroendocrine system, problem with the immunological changes, and that make the person are susceptible to a certain disease like a hypertension, diabetes, or that we are say peptic disorder, the peptic ulcer, that's a migraine. These are the things which we start from the stress, and that is it from the psychological point of view. So a stressful condition, what we are say, there is an external or a stressful event is a, we are say it is a external or acute or chronic generated challenge to which organism cannot adequate response. And recent study have found the people who face the general stress optimistically than the pessimistically are adapt to are not adapt to experience psychosomatic disorder. If they do not, they act to recover easily. So now this is the process of how we adapt with the certain situation. If we having a stress, everyone having a stress in the life, but some people are consider this stress, and they are copying this stress and they are doing certain things, so from they are taking this stress in positively, and so they're able to control, prevent the certain disease. But the patient which are, or the person which are not, are not cope up with this stressful situation, really suffer from the psychosomatic diseases. So so specific versus non-specific stress factor. So specific psychic stress may be defined as a specific personality or unconscious so the conflict. Stress, exciting cause as a psychic, they affect the person, no adaptation, no coping, they make the conflict, and this conflict change or the cause the hemostatic disequilibrium. and they develop the psychosomatic disorder. This is a simple process to develop the how mind is affect body, how the mind is affect the physical body. So, for example, I'm explaining example of GI tract because of GI tract is directly connected with our mind. The gastrointestinal tract is one of the most common site for the psychogenically staggered somatic symptoms and psychosomatic disorder. Eating, eliminating are the symptom profile of many psychiatric diseases because of those person having the anxiety or the nervousness, anxiety about the, when we take the example of argentum nitricum. Argentum nitricum having a nervousness, anxiety about there's an examine funk. So that's why having a problem with the performance. So they are passing the, they're having the symptoms of ice. So this is a connection of mental things to a physical body, psychosomatic affection. Those person having a very, there is a nux vomica like that. They take the overwork, they are get stressed for the business, for the achievement of something, they are suffering from the gastritis. So these are the symptoms which we see directly with the mind to a body. Now, so the disease, what we understand about the disease is a physical part, emotional part, and intellectual part. But the emotional part, it is the first one. Everyone, we having a no control over the emotions. Everyone having the emotions, and we having a no control over the emotion. But our intellectual mind are guide us. They say this is your problem, but how you, for example, come out from this problem? This is a suggest by your intellectual or understanding. If you're having a certain in understanding and the intellectual power, and you're able to cope up from that certain situation, physical body is not suffer. Here the this threshold is break, adaptation is break, withdrawal is come, but your body is suffer. So, response of the body. So, if the constant adaptation requires the development of emotionally as well as integrated personality fail at various stages, it will be indicated by appropriate symptomatology. So, if the warning signs are not, like bodies give a warning to first. Every time in a first time we are not suffering from diabetes. A body give a warning sign, and then course of the time, depending on the personality, different type of response may follow. So first time when we are become ill directly, they're not, so within for example, I am having a certain stage and I'm tomorrow I am suffering from a disease, not like that. It is a very tedious, it is a very long process to develop this psychosomatic disease. It is not a recent one, it is not an acute one, it is always chronic. And so that's why if bodies give a certain warning sign, body we having the backache, or we having a gastritis, we having certain problem, headache. Now this is a warning sign of our stress. We understand first the disease is understood by patient himself. Then it is observed by other. Keep in the mind. So that if we, according to, if we know this warning sign, so then we prevent and we heal at that one time, we are not suffering from the disease. But it is a remain a continue for a time. Now we has to suffer. Our body has to suffer, and he is suffering from a certain diseases. So according to now DSM-4, it is a very well-known book for the psychology. So it is a fourth edition of DSM-4. In this is describe the psychological factor affecting the medical condition as one or more psychological behavior problem that adversely affect the an outcome of the general medical condition or they significantly increase the person risk adverse outcome. So according to DSM-4, he here that the author is also one is how the psychology or behavior affect our body. So this due to the mind matter is for this is a short, and so they develop the psychosomatic disease. So how the Dr. Honeyman say about the a mental disease in aphorism number 210 to 230. And in the aphorism number 2 to 5, in 225, Dr. Honeyman explained the psychosomatic disease. What he explained, Dr. Honeyman believed that many diseases from the psychological emotional disturbances and the different psychological expression like a continued anxiety, worry, vexation, fear, fright, and that leads to a somatic disease. Such disease may be a recent origin, may not have developed fully into disease. So what I'm saying that is an acute thing, they're not really develop the physical symptoms. At my point, they affect chronically. So it is act as a maintaining for a certain time and it's developed the chronic physical body disease. But if this disease, if one person is experienced the one acute mental affection, for example, I'm explaining the example, a sudden death of our near one, sudden death of our loved one. At the time, we having a certain problem, we are in going in depression. At a time, if we take the proper treatment, we take the proper remedy, we able to prevent to suffer our the effect of this affection of the to our body. When we are uh, left untreated, so this type of the situation, we are not ignoring this situation, and we know that the a mental disease is a stigma in a society. So what I am we are saying 60 to 70 people they having a certain thing, like anxiety, worry, vexation, fear, fright, they are not consult the doctor. This is also a wrong thing. If we treat the disease in the mental level, then our body is not suffer. So if it is remain left untreated for a time, they are also various cycle of the emotional cause, and so they are for example, such disease may be recent or not have developed fully incorporated disease, but if left untreated, they damage the body. It can trigger physical symptoms and illness. So if we are not body for a longer time, then and then it develop the physical symptoms. So now the one mental aspect is primarily deranged, leads to altered mind and disposition, according to aphorism number 210, ultimately leading to a psychopathological state of the patient. And this continues vicious cycle by emotional cause like continuous anxiety, vexation, wrong and frequent occurrence of great fear and fright, dreams. So these are the conditions are developed, and this is the primary stage of the disease on the psychosomatic. If we treat the patient at that time, with the other body, his body is not suffer from the further disease. So Dr. Honeyman conceived that the emotional and psychological factor as a causes which act to remove the cause of disease. So they are act as a maintaining cause. These are the psychological problem or factor are act as a maintaining cause, and they become an obstacle to cure. So we have to know that each every person, if the person came to us for the simple gastritis, chronic gastritis patient, the patient having a complaint of acid peptic disorder, or the patient having complaint of the migraine, we are given a medicine on the base of that pain or physical symptoms. We not to cure this patient. We has to understand what is the cause behind that migraine, what is the cause behind that acid secretion, and from that, if we not remove this cause, are we not able to treat his gastritis and his headache. Dr. N believe that the true illness in human beings start with the disequilibrium of the profoundest strata of the personality, that stay in a latent form and objectify by exciting maintaining cause in clinical manifestations. So here the Dr. Honeyman tried to say the prima causa morbis. Why I am suffering from that disease? Because of my body having a susceptibility to that disease. I have a psora, so that's why I am suffering from the psoric complaint. I have a psychosis, so that's why I am suffering from psychotic complaint. I have a syphilis, so that's why I am suffering from syphilitic complaint. Are you getting my point? So the personality is only and only responsible for the other disease. So Dr. Honeyman explained in aphorism number 5 that about the exciting cause or about the fundamental causes. Dr. Honeyman says that we have to identify, investigate the fundamental cause of disease in each and every individual. And for that, Dr. Honeyman write the certain factor that is his mind and moral capability. This is right, Dr. Honeyman, in first one. Because of that is the most important to know the personality of the individual. We know that every person is individual from his behavior, not from his physical body. Everyone having a two eyes, one nose, we having a one liver, two kidney, everyone having a this thing. But what is the difference in a that is a thinking process. So if we know the person, We know the personality of that person, we know the behavior of the individual, we know the which are the process coming in the next to that person, and so that's why they leads toward this type of the physical so until objectified by the exciting maintaining causes, so exciting and maintaining causes become a only causa occasionalis. That means they are occasional to a cause. હા ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ ગુજરાતીમાં કહેવત છે હા કાગનું બેસવું ને ડાળનું પડવું. So the here there is a crow is not responsible for that breakup of that steam. Before that, this steam is very become old or they are dried or suddenly the crow is sitting over there and they're falling. So this is only not a reason that is a crow is responsible for that loss of that tree. This is a process coming from a very long time. And now this occasion, the sitting of the crow on that steam, that leads to occasion of the disease. So it is objectified by exciting and maintaining cause into clinical manifestation. So now this is a certain example. Everyone we know, they are these type of the things will lead to this problem. So due to a stressful life, one can develop a predisposed to disease like a peptic ulcer, inflammatory bowel disease, IBD, GERD, hypertension, coronary artery disease, migraine, hormonal imbalance, infertility. This is a burning problem nowadays. Erectile dysfunction, PMS, neurological disorder. These everything are due to the psychological disturbance, and they got a very good relation with this thing. So for that, I'm explaining them an example of acid peptic disease with the how the I'm taken in later. So we know in our day-to-day life, not only in a homeopathy, not only in a medical science, how mind is affect our physical body. So for that, I have a certain example beyond the medical field, that is a sports and performance. Athletes use mental technique to like a visualization, positive self-talk, and focus to enhance their physical performance. If in the first day of that cricket, if the Kohli says, I'm not performing well today, so he's not performing. But the mind is set up like that. I has to do with this thing, and that make the and they win the India. It like that. So everywhere, they are utilize this thing, and so that's why in every team of the sports area, they having a one psychiatric because of they are given constant counseling with this person. In management, mindfulness, meditation, cognitive behavior therapy. So we do this when we are in a pain, we are not able to cope up with a certain situation, not give a proper performance. We are doing this thing, and they give relief our complaint. So that's why the mind having a relation with the doctor can be help the individual manage the chronic pain, reduce their reliance on a medication. And this is a positivity we given by this mindfulness and meditation. They affect the body, and the sensation of the pain are also reduced. And this is a justified. We see very many articles over there, like a recovery from the illness and injury. Positivity is required. The person having a very severe illness, and now we give a positive or then give a counseling to that person, the recovery of a positive mindset, determination, and resilience can lead the recovery process and improve overall well-being. Every challenges, develop a growth mindset, practicing self-compassion and reframing the negative thought keep help individual overcome daily obstacle and achieve their goal. If we think positive, our body react like a positive. If we think negative, our bodies also become a negative. The positivity, thinking process, the behavior process of our mind is having a directly connected with our body. They are not different and they are only one and time. So how these are things we utilize in our practice. That is the main thing. I know about the mind and matter because of we has to treat the psychosomatic disease. So for that, the first step for the treatment of the mental disease or treatment of the psychosomatic disease, we has to do the case taking. So it is from that we get the knowledge of the disease as a general knowledge of the disease as a particular. So Dr. Honeyman mentioned about the case taking and aphorism number 83214. What is the importance of the case taking? How we take the case taking? So homeopathy is used case taking to understand the patient's mental, emotional, and physical symptoms. So from the process of the case taking, we follow do's and don'ts of the case taking. We ask the each and every minute peculiarity from the patient, and from that we collect all the symptoms. In the symptoms we collect the patient himself, the symptoms we collect from our observation, and they are observed by other, we are say attendant, or that's a relative, or that the friends, or that caretaker, or the nurse. From that we collect the whole symptoms, and we classify the symptoms, we analyze the symptoms, we evaluate the symptoms, and according to that we make the totality of the symptoms. And for that, we take the every symptoms, not only of physical symptoms, not only a mental symptoms. We take every symptoms of the patient, and in the symptoms, or the, for making the our in the laboratory investigation, our systemic examination, everything is important. But we are not leave this thing, because of from that we know the person. So we take the further by the taking. What is the main purpose of the case taking? To take the subjectives of the patient, to take the objective symptoms of the patient, to take the common symptoms of the patient, and they help for the diagnosis of the disease, they help for the management of the disease. Our main purpose of the case taking to collect the striking PQRS symptoms, and from that we make the totality of the symptoms, and from that we select the symbolic medicine. So homeopathy has to homeopathy perceive. So Dr. Honeyman wrote starting of the taking in 83 aphorism. That means we become unprejudiced. Our five senses is very open, and we having a fidelity towards the patient. Then and then we able to take the proper case. And from the case taking, we make the totality of symptoms. And from the totality, we select the minimum medicine. The remedy are selected on the base of the patient's unique symptoms profile, including mental and emotional characteristic. So here we also have physical symptoms, but they are the most important symptoms for the selection of the minimum. According to Dr. Candy, the general symptoms are more important, or they're having a higher value than the particular symptoms, because of a general symptoms are those symptoms they affect the patient as a whole. And Dr. Honeyman, Dr. Candice classified these general symptoms in a two part, a mental symptoms and physical general symptoms. So those symptoms which are affect the mental level, and when we think about the Kant philosophy or Kant understanding about the symptoms, is also to classify the mental symptom. That is a villain emotion, first grade one, second grade that is the intellectual character, third grade that is understanding and memory. So among these all the things, most important is villain emotions, and that we are saying our mind, and that we are saying is our, and they're always characteristic, and they help for the selection of the element. So that we has to study the mind of individual, and then if we individualize the person in homeopathy, we has to do we has to expect the mind that situation. Without that, we're not able to individualize the person. So the management, how to manage the case with the psychosomatic disease. This is a given by Dr. Honeyman. How to manage the psychosomatic disease. For the management of the psychosomatic disease, Dr. Honeyman in aphorism number 226 and 7, Dr. Honeyman says that the counseling is the first. Who is first deranged? The mind is first. So what we first repair? We repair the mind first. And for the repairing of the mind, not give by only a medicine or good substance. They require the same plan. The cure is only and possible by the similarity of the symptoms. So the disease on a mental plane, so we have to treat the mental plane, and this is only by the psychical remedy. Now, what is psychical remedy? Psychical remedy nowadays we have psychotherapy. Dr. Honeyman used the word psychical remedy for the treatment of the mental disease. And this is not a medicine physically we give or goggles we give to patient. It is only an experience by the display of confidence. We give a confidence to patient are able to do this thing without any anxiety and fear. You're able to perform the stage. You're able to give complete that task. You have not worry and hurry about this thing. Friendly exhortation. We have to talk with that patient with a very friendly nature, and so from that we improve his confidence, and his confidence is improved. His mind become a healthy, and his body they suffer. We give a sensible advice how you manage stress, how you avoid stress, how you manage your life. you divide your work, so that's why you're not produce stress in your body. And the counseling, and from that counseling we are give a mental strength to that people. And so that's why nowadays the many counselors are present in the market, so they are deal only with this, or they are talking with the patient, they're having a mental problem, they're having an anxiety or there's depression, and they are able to make the person in a healthy state. So this is the first thing we have to do in a management of psychotic disease. Now, second thing we have to do, that is a give a appropriate diet and regime. This is also required, because of if we are due to a mental disease patient having a not a moral response, he not understand properly because of his mind is suffering here. So, for example, we take the example of diarrhea and vomiting. My stomach is suffering from diarrhea and vomiting. So, I have to maintain my diet. I take the liquidy diet, or I take the light. Then I am able to treat my diarrhea and vomiting. Are you getting my point? So, as a mental disease we have to treat, we also take the proper diet and regime, proper sleep, proper environment to living in a certain situation, proper vented area, that everything is required. A proper nutritive diet, because of this is a vicious cycle. If the nutrition is less, they also affect our mind. Are you getting my? But then, for example, we having a deficiency of the vitamins, we having a deficiency of the protein, also affect our mind. For example, the one example, Kalkiriakar, there is a calcium is low, there is a deficiency we see in a Kalkiriakar. Now the deficiency make the fusion also. So they become a vicious cycle. So we, along with the counseling, we have to maintain proper diet and regime. And along with their, this everything is a management of the disease. Along they require the medicine. They require the remedy. And Dr. Honeyman says that psychosomatic disease are origin from the soric matter. So without Sora, no one is responsible with this external stimuli or psychical cause. So the Sora is, or the prima causa morbi, the miasm is responsible for the development of the disease also. So Dr. Honeyman says that we have to take the medicine along with this thing, and we treat the, or be able to cure the this psychosomatic disease. And the Dr. Honeyman, we know the best example is treatment on the clock and work. Clock from the insanity. Now Dr. Honeyman treat this person within a 6 to 8 months. Now this is a miracle at the time of 17 into very initial stage when the when homeopathy is not born. So this is the thing required, or this dedication is required by the physician for cure of the psychosomatic disease. So homeopathic treatment aim to restore balance to the vital force, addressing in the underlying psychological and emotional balances. And we balance the emotions, order body is balanced. If we are balanced the psychological problem, already your function of the body is also a better. Now, so what Dr. Clark is saying, the mind is ill at ease, cannot work at all. The face grows and little muscles are lax. Worry is always a great cause of indigestion, and that we observe in our practice. When we having an exam, our stomach upset is occur. We having a stress, our stomach is upset. Now we having a even the stress we are traveling more, therefore our stomach is upset. So they're having a direct relation. And why they have a direct relation? They're having also interpretation. So these are the scientific explanation also. So that we are saying hypersecretion of HCl leads to a gastric problem or the indigestion. We know everyone, wherever we know HCl is increased, that leads to gastritis and then make the indigestion. Now, why this secretion of the HCl is increased suddenly? So secretion of the HCl is totally depend on the sympathetic and parasympathetic activity, which is done by the vagal nerve. Vagal nerve is supply stomach. Vagal nerve supply the lungs. Vagal supply the vagal nerve supply the heart or the lungs everywhere. So now the vagal nerve is stimulated. Now we go to the first stage, the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is affected first. So hypothalamus, how they affected? It is affected by our five senses. So we see something, we having a stress something, so indirectly we receive this stress and they are manifest on thalamus. Now they are give a signal to a vagal nerve, and vagal nerve become excited, and that leads to a, if the vagal nerve is excited, the activity of vagal nerve or the persistent stimulation of vagal nerve is then leads to a HCl secretion. or they leads to anxiety. This leads to a palpitation. That leads to a shortness of the breathing. Are you getting my point? So Alexander hypothesized this thing. Or Alexander is also says that the chronic frustration of intense dependence need a result in a chaotic unconscious conflict, which patient to induce is a unconscious and conscious both. Certain time we are not able to know that I am in a stress. We are not understand we are in a stress. So this type of patient is there. They say I am having a problem with the indigestion, I am having a problem with this, I am having a problem with that, I have a problem with this. But what was the reason? They also don't know. We has to open this path. Your work profile, they are responsible for that. Parent induce a dependence, receptions, logging, cared for the and love. This conflict cause a chronic, regressive, unconscious hunger and anger. So they leads to excessive hunger, excess or the loss of appetite. For example, excessive hunger. It is a situation we see in a sulfur. Loss of appetite we seen in a or pulsatilla. Keeping see this how they our bodies react, and the reaction is also dependent on the India. So the conflict causes chronic regressive unconscious hunger and anger, and which is a manifest physiological by or system vagal hyperactivity leading to a gastric acid hypersecretion, and this secretion is increased. There is a, so that's why the food is not properly digested or the digestion is increased. So all the gastric juice, the secretion is hampered. Everything is interlinked. And so that's why the person is suffering from gastric upset. So this is a best example to the example of psychosomatic system. So the reaction is a particular omnions in those genetically predisposed to hypersecretion of the acid. So here there is an example is given for the acidity or acid peptide disease. But the same thing happen with the insulin. Body is secreting the insulin properly, but now body is not utilize this insulin, and that we are say diabetes mellitus type 2. This is also a thing. A person having a primary hypertension without any coronary disease, we also see. So these things which we are saying, they having a direct relation with his mental state. So the without mind, affection on the mind, our body is not suffering. So for the in homeopathy, we consider evolution of the disease start from the mental level. Clear? So here that this is my try to explain the mind over matter implies that in a very short that is a thought and emotion influence physical reality. Our thought, emotion can shape our physical experience and outcome. If we are positive, our face is positive, our emotions are positive, we are happy. આપણે નથી કહેતા કે for example those people are very intelligent or those people are for example they having a different type of aura. This aura is come from our thought or not we buy from outside. This only come from our inside. So the mind has the power to overcome physical nature, and that we able to do every time we are not sufferer. Our mind is affected physical body, but the mind is also having that power to overcome these physical limitations. So with sufficient mental focus, determination, resilience, we can push beyond the perceiving physical limits. So the mental discipline and control are essential. Cultivating mental discipline, self-awareness, inner regulation enable us to harshness and power of our mind. And for that, science is come afterward. But in our Hindu religious, we are celebrating the festival. We having a gathering. We having a family relation. Yes, we are a social one. We do it for that. Because of this family gather, the festival, this give a mental happiness, and the mind, when the mind is happy, our body is happy, and so that's why we celebrate the different festival, different event, and they feel us too good. This is the end of my topic. That is a mind over matter. I understand there is a certain reference from that I am taking this property, and thank you very much. Now
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a wonderful session. Here you explained very well how psychosomatic disease will develop. So thank you so much, ma'am. If any participant have any question, please mention in